I told my team I especially wanted to talk to someone from the Conservative Party membership outside of Westminster. And I'm genuinely delighted to be joined now by Ian Forster. Ian is the treasurer of the Newcastle Conservative Association, and there he is. To put it bluntly, my team tell me that you are thoroughly fed up with all of this, and I think they've just cleaned up the language a little bit for my hearing.
Absolutely, Alistair. Good to speak to you. I think the fact that we have a contest is an absolute disgrace, an outrage. There wasn't a vacancy, and I think a lot of this has been driven by a relentless mainstream media campaign and, quite frankly, some spineless individuals within our party who have, again, shown Boris the door.
Do you think that we'd got to that point, that the parliamentary party had to act upon Boris Johnson, because if they didn't, then the Privileges Committee might have done? It had got to that point where he had to go. Or do you not agree with that?
Well, I think it was problematic. Yes, absolutely. I think, a blind man could see it was becoming increasingly more difficult. Part of the appeal of Boris was the fact that, he isn't a conventional politician. And that's, people outside of that Westminster bubble, that's what people buy into. Yeah. If I look at last night's debate, it was, quite frankly, flat and uninspiring.
That was going to be my next question. And it was, what did you make of the two debates yesterday? But you've half answered it, so let me gild the lily just a little bit. Was it flat because of the candidates, or was it flat because of the issues? I mean, I think it is fair to say that when it came to tax and public spending and Rishi versus Liz, it was pretty fireworks.
It was, to some degree. I think the candidates are ultimately what I'm looking at and what they stand for. For me personally, I'm looking for a genuine desire to make Brexit work. Certainly that net zero versus cost of living, looking at proportionate measures to ease some of that green burden. The immigration piece, which again I think was very telling by its absence in terms of how much airtime it got. I think the Rwandan policy, the ECHR, that's really important to the membership as well as the wider country. And I think the more important one for me as well is the culture war. Someone who can attack, stop those attacks on our national culture and history. And I didn't really see much of that last night.
The lack of a question on immigration in Rwanda it has been all over my feed on social media, and I must say, as I sat there quietly watching it last night, it really did surprise me. The only defence I've heard is that they are all standing foursquare behind that policy, including Penny and Tom as well. Do you think as well, as a seasoned member of the party out there with your finger on the pulse in Newcastle, up in the northeast, not natural Tory territory, but there have been Tory MPs up in that neck of the woods as well, that the party has got itself into such a position now that the only way forward is actually a clean start, whether it's Tom or whether it's Penny, but someone who wasn't at the pounding heart of everything that's gone wrong over the last 12 months or so?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think Rishi's campaign from the start has looked contrived, almost oven ready, for want of a better phrase. Liz Truss looks out of ideas. She's tired. And I think Tom Tugan had strong performance, but ultimately I think he's lightweight. For me, Kemi is definitely one that stands out in terms of past performance. I think last night wasn't as strong a performance as I've seen it, certainly on the floor of the House of Commons. And Penny Mordaunt, slightly evasive, but ultimately I think it's going to come down to a Mordaunt-Rishi contest. And, reluctantly, I'll back Mordaunt because for me, Rishi he's damaged goods.